It is freezing in the cabin. It's only -18 outside. It's been colder than that for weeks. We've been hovering around -20, -25, gotten down as low as -30. But today it's warmer, and that's what seems really weird about this. I've not been cold in the cabin since arriving, but I am freezing. I cannot get warm. You know how sometimes you get a chill in your bones? I don't know if it's just me or if it's actually something else, but the wood isn't burning right either. When I got the wood, it had come from the Matsu Valley where they had got torrential downpour, rain the night before. And I don't know if the company that I bought the wood from had it undercover or not. They had already just stacked it in their truck, so I don't believe that it was. And then when it delivered here that night, we got torrential rains. And because I just moved in, I didn't have a tarp to cover it with. And so it got poured on, and it was a full 24 hours before I could go get a tarp. That rain just soaked the entire 5 cords all the way through. Even though I covered it, it rained for the next week straight after the wood had been delivered and tarped. I'm sure it was just soaking up all the moisture from the ground. The wood I've used up until now hasn't been like this. I haven't had any problem with steaming wood. Now, admittedly, the first week that I burned the wood after getting it delivered, I had a difficult time getting a fire to light. It wasn't steaming like it is today. And I'm not sure if it's because this is the bottom of that first cord that I stacked and maybe it didn't have a chance to dry out. I mean, it makes sense. It was wet wood. They get stacked at the bottom of a cord, and even though it was set upon logs so it wasn't sitting directly on the ground, it also isn't going to get as much airflow as the wood that was above it and getting more wind across it to dry it out, which would explain why all the other wood up until now hasn't had a problem. I think I'm going to abandon the rest of that first cord. Hopefully, I don't need it this winter and I can just let it dry out and then use that next winter. And I'm just going to start pulling from another cord, hopefully have better success. But I've got to get the cabin warm because it's supposed to get nasty again in the next day or two. The last thing I need to do is not have this heat. And if the power goes out and the oil burner doesn't work, then I'm without heat altogether. And I know you're probably thinking, oh yeah, you have the oil burner. Why aren't you using it? Or I am using it. And I'm trying to be as conservative as possible with it, but it uses more money essentially because it takes oil and electricity. And then with only one income coming in and trying to save money for the projects that I need to get done around the cabin, I'm really reluctant to rely upon it when I've already spent the money for the wood. I'd rather stand here in front of the wood stove and heat my hands up over the wood stove and my legs in front of the glass, then kick that thing on and just basically throw money out the window. But I guess I'm just maybe too frugal for my own good, right? What do you think? Am I frugal? No, I'm not. You're a good boy. So, as I was saying, that first day that it's been above zero in over 25 days. I just had a small chimney fire. I did go up and extinguish the fire, and I extinguished the fire that was in the firebox. This is all the wood that was in the firebox. I'd cleaned out the ashes this morning, and just these 2 small logs is all that was in the firebox prior to the chimney fire starting. I cleaned the chimney out when I first arrived in August. It's just been about 3.5 months. I'm gonna let the chimney cool off and then I will get up here and clean out the chimney. The sheer amount of creosote that has built up is insane. I threw some snow in here to douse the fire. Needless to say, I'll be up here once a month as opposed to once every 3 months cleaning this thing out. One thing about living so far remote in such extreme conditions is that when you have an opportunity to do something, you need to take that opportunity. That's the one thing that I will definitely say Alaska will teach you, if you didn't already follow that principle, is because you might only have a short window. Like right now, I have just a few hours of light. The days are getting shorter as we go. And with that storm moving in, I really don't have much time to get this done before I'm out of daylight and out of good weather. When I first moved here and I cleaned out the chimney, I disconnected both elbows and they twisted because these are articulating, and it was time consuming to get them back together. And so I'm not disconnecting the elbows from the straight pieces of pipe. And I'm just gonna lift this off, pull it out from there, and carry the whole thing out in one piece, essentially. Hopefully I don't knock the camera off the tripod doing this. Oh my goodness. All right. And off we go. And now to see just how much creosote was really in the chimney. Basically to this bottom line here, about 1.5 inches worth of creosote that it came out of the chimney pipe. So all that you're seeing, that's what came from this upper pipe here, from scraping it. It's just all the creosote that had collected then in the elbow here. It's not all just from this little section. If it was, the cabin would have burnt down a long time ago. One nice thing about the temperatures being where they're at today, just, hovering around 0 outside, is that the cabin, even with having the chimney off, has stayed warm. The oil burner is set down to its lowest setting. It's set at 50 degrees and it has not kicked on yet. And I'm not cold. I actually want to take this shirt off. The only reason I'm not doing it is because I don't really want to get my undershirt dirty. It is not cold in the cabin by any means. And I don't even know how to explain it. On the days where it's been around 0, it's comfortable in the cabin without the heat on. And the days when it's like above 0 and saying hovering around 15, 20 degrees outside, it's like, feels like summer. You want to go outside in just, your t-shirt and no jacket. It's pretty nice. It's a good thing I need to clean the cabin. If I had just dusted and then had to do this, I'd be kicking myself. All right, time to get the stovepipe put back on. All right. Not exactly perfect, but it'll do. The view from the top of the property, pretty amazing. Doing burning wet wood? You know better than that. You know that's all I had, right? And the oil burner wasn't even working when we first got here. I get it. But maybe you should do a little bit more research. Like watch your mentors, like Boss of the Swamp. You're right. He's got a lot of great videos and a lot of great information. And while we're at it, next time use the shop vac. The shop vac. Oh my goodness, why didn't I think of that? I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a lot of dust, huh? Yeah, there's a lot of dust. I'm sorry. And I am tired of cleaning up after you. You're a lot of work, kid. Yeah, I know. You'll do better next time. I appreciate it. And for those of you that have watched this video, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you've subscribed, I want to say thank you. I appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And please leave a comment. I look forward to reading your comments and responding to them. Kenai does too. And so does my alter ego. And we'll see you again on next video. Oh, and be sure to check out Boss's channel if you get a chance. Be sure to check out my other videos. This is the one that YouTube recommends. And this is the one that I recommend.